So I'm gonna let you express what you feel like has been on your heart or mind to express, but I do have some questions that we can dive into as well.
When I was thinking about this, I wanted to talk about disappointment because it's something I'm struggling with. I don't feel that I have an understanding of disappointment. And I thought that if a discussion happened, even if it was rambly, maybe something comes through one of us that helps understand what it is. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can sit down and ask me a question and kind of come up with something. But this is something I'm not clear on. And I haven't been clear on a lot. And I was like, well, maybe that's a good thing. It turns the tables, you know. And I was going to ask you, I'm not asking for personal life things or anything like this, but just the understanding of, starting from like Webster's dictionary, you know, what is disappointment? And I just need to get a handle on it because it is something that, because I know the meaning of the word, almost, it's like I know it exists for me, that I allow it. And if I framed how disappointment, so for example, let's say Pasha punches me in the face and I go, oh, I'm disappointed.
What?
Yeah, I'm just creating a scenario.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
It's funny because I would say more than that. But
yeah, definitely.
from a metaphysical perspective, there's something that says, well, I attracted that punch. I allowed Pasha's vibration of punching into my orbit. So am I disappointed in Pasha or am I disappointed in myself? That's what I'm struggling with because I have this five senses thing. What's your take on it?
I think both can be present.
Give me an example or something. Frame it. Go back to childhood. Something that's a little disconnected from the present, something you've overcome maybe.
Well, okay, if we think about a parent, a mom or a father, and their teenager does something that really disappoints them, they can also be disappointed in their parenting. So, okay, I feel like I'm not answering. I feel like I haven't really thought about this either.
So what I got from that is that disappointment can flow both ways.
Yeah.
And I feel like the disappointment is really coming from a lot of expectation, is what I'm hearing in my mind. And that expectation is based on how I understand what my morals are and what I think is right and wrong. I would only be disappointed in something if I felt they wronged me in some way, like they went against my beliefs or they went against my belief in what I think another person's behavior should be or could be. If I go swimming in the ocean and the shark bites my leg, I don't think I'm disappointed in the shark because I'm not connected to the morality of a shark.
Yeah.
I haven't put that on the shark. But if someone at the restaurant bites my leg, I'll be like, it's different because I put them in the human condition that I've created for myself. That I operate within a certain rules myself. I govern myself to not bite another's leg, right? So I feel like if I'm behaving well, I'm disappointed if someone else isn't behaving well.
Does the feeling of disappointment stem from flawed perception of reality?
Yeah.
Or from unrealistic expectations?
Well, you use the word real and realistic twice. So it takes a minute to define that into the five senses because I think that getting above that right and wrong is about the duality. You know, am I basing this on a physical disappointment or a spiritual disappointment in some ways? My perception of what reality is.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on a couch, you're sitting on a couch, I get it. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not sitting on a couch. My idea of how somebody needs to be in my house is an expectation.
Yeah.
Because I own this. Like I feel like I should have, you know, the parameters of this, but outside of the house, it's got to be a little looser. My construct varies.
I feel like disappointment can be heavier when you have expressed expectation and certain boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Versus when you don't, and then you're still disappointed.
Because there's also this thing about this invisible, silent expectation. You know, I expect you not to shoot me. No, these are.
I know, but these are.
This is the thing. It's not like I think about that, but somewhere I'm like, yeah, I don't think Jana's going to pull a gun on me.
It's just an extreme for me.
No, that's why I put it. It's hilarious. I mean,
Yeah.
But so what other silent constructs do I have in my mind that I'm putting on other people? It's probably a lot, based on how I was brought up and based on how I want my life to be that day.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of times when I'm probably not living up to someone else's construct, or I change. This is a big thing that I've seen happen. If my understanding of life or what I want changes, I've noticed that not everybody's interested in that change that is good for me, because my change for me that became good is bad for them. So all of a sudden, that construct reverses. I've experienced this recently. And that's there's nothing I can do about it. I'm like, I'm going forward, you know. I need to change. I don't want to be the same guy I was last year. Somebody said to me one time, if someone says, oh, you've really changed. I was Fran. Fran said, always say, thank you for noticing. Yes, I have.
I love that.
I was like, yeah, I may as well own it, because it no longer says, hey, I'm not stuck in that person's expectation of me, in that you can be disappointed. And as I get older, I'm more and more okay with people being disappointed in me. And it's not because I had a failing, it's because I failed to do what they wanted me to do.
So let's turn disappointment, let's see if there's positivity from it. So can it be used as a tool for self-discovery of our true desires, things we won't tolerate, our boundaries?
Well, right now it's self-discovery. Like I said, I didn't have those thoughts really put together, because when I'm disappointed in somebody, I'm wrapped up in being disappointed in them. I don't pull out my notebook and go, oh, I'm disappointed. Like, I don't face it like a study. I'm in the emotion of it. So taking the time to do this, I haven't really organized time to think about disappointment. And the positive aspect of it is, for me, to recognize that I'm feeling disappointment, release the emotion, and send love. And if I do that, golden.
Yeah.
I don't always feel better right away. It's not like I just ate a bite of chocolate cake, you know, it doesn't feel like that. But it shifts something, and then I do it again, and I do it again. It's kind of like, if you got water in the boat, it takes more than one bucket to get it out, right? It takes a process. But gradually, the bottom of the boat will not have as much water in it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that. So the positive aspect is remembering. There's a lot to do with remembering.
It's a big theme tonight.
Yeah, for me.
Is the fear of disappointment a greater hindrance to personal growth than the actual experience of the disappointment itself?
For my own internal reasons, I inserted the word fear instead of disappointment.
Okay, that's where you focused once I said that word?
Like the fear of disappointing.
The worry, let's say worry.
Read it again.
Is the worry or anxiety of disappointment a greater hindrance to personal growth than the actual experience of the disappointment itself?
It can be, depending on how much I get worked up over it. The pre-workup, you know. If I spend a week worrying about something, it's turned into this tumor, you know. It has its own blood supply of my thoughts. I call it a vortex. And then that vortex is very powerful. So if I'm nervous about a performance, say I was a singer, the concert's an hour or two, but I could have been worried about it for a month.
Yeah.
So in some ways, yes. The trouble is that the impact of me worrying it about myself is just between me and myself. I can worry about it for a month. But if I was on stage singing in front of a bunch of people, I feel like I've given them my power to approve or disapprove of me. And that fail could be spectacular in my emotional body, because I went to them looking for approval. Rather, some people go to sing for approval probably, and some probably just go to sing because they just love it. I don't know, it would depend on their intention or their motive. So I think that the workup can be a bigger deal. It's like the Band-Aid, you know? Have you seen those guys that, the big Marine guys, and they have to go get blood taken, and it's like everything, they're so strong and this and that, and the nurse comes at them with a needle, and they're like, you know, and they're like all this, and then they don't even know it's over. Yeah, the workup.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm going to answer that, definitely, because of that YouTube video I saw. That big guy scared shitless of the needle.
Well, because when you're disappointed, it's like you have to forgive, but you don't want to forget.
Mm-hmm.
But you also don't want to carry it every day. I don't know. I think I'm going through a certain phase in my life that I can't even talk about it because it's too heavy for me.
The disappointment, the closer someone is to you,
Yeah.
the deeper the same disappointment from a stranger that wouldn't matter, from someone that has been impactful, because there's a lot of good on board also.
Yeah.
So if somebody has an experience with somebody that's 90% good, but all that 90% good is temporarily gone for the 10% bad, I'm like, well, mathematically, I should take some of this 90% over here and put it in the
Yeah.
over here to balance it out.
Yeah.
Sometimes that 10%, I don't know, I'm done. You know, I get it.
But that goes back to the 9 bad things, or 9 good things happen, 1 bad thing happens in the day, and you're
Yes.
focused on that 1 bad thing.
But
When is it?
I think it's,
don't know.
for I can only speak personally. For me, it's making a decision of, is it the first time that disappointment has happened? Is this a pattern? Is this a repeat? Something like that. And I think that would carry a lot of weight. But also, maybe there's a disappointment that I was willing to take from a friend. Like, we were out, whatever, and they make fun of me or tell a joke or whatever when I was young. But now I'm like, I don't really like that joke, and I don't need them to change. I'm just not going to be around that group of friends. I've outgrown that. I've outgrown that vibe. I've outgrown that. It's like someone that goes out drinking,
Yeah.
and they don't really drink that much, but they're friends. They just kind of, you know, maybe it's like, oh, I have a kid now. You know, I don't want to do this. My life is different. I'm dragging that 90% of my good memories forward into a life that no longer serves, because I'm a different person now. I'm changing by design or by obligation, the kid thing, you know. Yeah, the closer a person is, the tougher it is.
Thank you for joining us today on our conversation about divine love and a little bit about disappointment, and we'll see you next time.
That's right. And how they're all connected, oddly enough.